Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving deep into a piece of tech the whole maker community has been waiting for, the Raspberry Pi 5. And let me tell you, this is way more than just a simple update. It's a total game changer, and we're going to show you exactly why.
So right off the bat, the Raspberry Pi Foundation is calling this the everything computer. And you know what? That's not just some slick marketing. We're not looking at a small, iterative bump here. This is a real, genuine, generational leap forward in what this little board can do, all while keeping that classic credit card size we all know and love.
And if there's just one number you take away from all this, it's got to be this one. The Pi 5 gives you a 2 to 3 times boost in CPU performance over the Raspberry Pi 4. I mean, that is a massive jump. It completely changes the game for what you can do with a computer this tiny.
But that 2 to 3 times boost? Well, it doesn't come from just one single component. It's a complete overhaul under the hood. So let's get into it and break down exactly where all this new power is coming from. This table right here really tells the whole story. Just look at the processor. We're jumping from the older Cortex A72 architecture all the way to the much more modern Cortex A76. And we're cranking the clock speed up to 2.4 gigahertz. And then look at the cache. For the very first time, we have dedicated L2 cache for each core, plus a shared L3 cache. Seriously, every single line on this table is a huge upgrade, making the whole system feel fundamentally faster. And wow, this chart just says it all for the GPU, doesn't it? In this benchmark, the Pi 4 hits about 425 frames per second. The Pi 5, it more than doubles that, smashing past 880. This pushes the Pi 5's graphics into a whole new league. We're talking about performance similar to entry-level graphics cards from maybe a decade ago. That's just incredible for a tiny, low-power board like this. So what do all these numbers actually mean for you day to day? Well, it means everything just feels better. Even basic stuff that could sometimes make the Pi 4 feel a little sluggish, like scrolling through a really heavy web page, is now super smooth and responsive. It's a much, much more capable desktop experience. Okay, but raw processing power? That's only half the story. A fast computer needs fast ways to talk to everything else. And with the Pi 5, the entire way it connects to the outside world has gotten a complete redesign.
And here it is. This is the big one, the headline feature for so many makers and power users. For the first time ever on a full-size Pi, we have a proper PCIe interface. That's Peripheral Component Interconnect Express. This is an absolute game changer.
So, what can you actually do with this little connector? Well, it opens the door to plugging in some seriously fast hardware. We're talking about things like NVMe solid-state drives, which can be 10 times faster than a micro SD card. Think lightning-fast storage. Or maybe adding high-speed network cards. Now, you will need an adapter cable, but the potential this one little port unlocks is just enormous. And hey, even the humble micro SD card slot got a massive upgrade. It now supports a high-speed mode called SDR104. And the bottom line is that its peak performance has literally doubled. This means your operating system is going to boot faster, your apps will load quicker, everything is just snappier. And the improvements don't stop there. Thanks to a brand new in-house chip called the RP1, the USB 3.0 ports can now run at their full 5 gigabits per second speed. At the same time, the display output is now beefed up to support two 4K monitors at 60 Hz with HDR, and the old camera and display ports have been swapped out for faster, more flexible ones. Okay, so we've covered the performance, we've covered the connectivity. Now let's talk about the physical changes to the board itself. The quality of life stuff that just makes it easier to work with.
Right. This is the big question that always comes up with a huge performance boost. If the Pi 5 is 2 to 3 times faster, does that mean it also runs 2 to 3 times hotter?
And yeah, the answer is it can definitely get toasty. When you're pushing it hard, the Pi 5 can and will thermal throttle, which basically means it slows itself down to keep from overheating. So to really get that peak performance all the time, an active cooler like this official one is pretty much a must-have. They even added dedicated mounting holes and a fan connector right on the board for it. And look at this. These are the features the community has been asking for years. A proper power button, so you don't have to yank the power cable anymore. A connector for a real-time clock battery, so it can actually keep time when it's unplugged. And, like we just saw, a dedicated, controllable fan header. These are fantastic, long-awaited additions. Okay, now for a super important practical tip. They've swapped the positions of the Ethernet port and the USB ports. It might seem like a tiny change, but what it really means is that none of your old Raspberry Pi 4 cases are going to fit. You will need to get a new case for the Pi 5.
So all of this brings us to the final, really important question. The Pi 4 is still out there. It's still for sale. So, which one should you actually buy for your next project? Honestly, the choice really boils down to what you need to do. The Raspberry Pi 4 is still an amazing, capable little board. If you're building simple servers, using it for education, or doing projects where low power use is key, it's a fantastic choice. But if you're thinking about a desktop replacement or doing some gaming or emulation or anything that's intensive like image processing, well, then the Raspberry Pi 5 is the obvious winner. And here's the real kicker. When you look at the more popular 4GB and 8GB RAM models, the price difference between a Pi 4 and a Pi 5 can be as little as $5. And for just $5 more, you are getting that massive leap in performance. It's kind of a no-brainer. So, the Raspberry Pi 5 really isn't just another update. It's a fundamental shift that redefines what we can expect from a single-board computer. We're talking about a true desktop-class experience and high-speed I/O that was just a dream in this form factor a few years ago. All that power now fits in the palm of your hand. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?